boy.
Who farted?
Nobody? You smell something? I smell the heater. It's the heater, bro. Yeah. Did it smell? Did it smell?
If you've spent any time on TikTok, you might have come across this walking disaster of a woman. She's been causing problems online for a long time. Uploading her places one of the worst moms ever to grace social media. Seriously, if there were a competition for the most irresponsible and self-absorbed parents out there, she'd be taking home the gold. Between her terrible parenting and her love for attention, she's become a top-tier lolcow, constantly giving the internet fresh material to roast her with. And let's not even get started on her dating choices. Somehow, Ashley, as a 35-year-old woman, has managed to rope in young, impressionable guys, some barely out of their teenage years, and even ex-cons, adding them to her growing collection of questionable boyfriends. This is gonna be a wild one through the mess that is Ashley Trevino's online stunts, how she built her fan base, why she's such a recipe for drama, and just how bad her life choices really are. But first, for those that don't know her or her background, who is Ashley Trevino? Ashley Trevino, formerly known as Ashley Garcia, is a woman in her mid-30s from Texas, USA. She grew up in a loving home, raised by parents who did their best for her. As a teenager, she had a childhood sweetheart named Israel, and their young love eventually led to marriage in 2007. At the time, Ashley was around 17 or 18, and Israel was also close to her age. Just 2 years later, in 2009, Ashley became a mom for the first time, giving birth to her daughter at 19 years old. Then in 2012, at the age of 22, she welcomed her second daughter with Israel. On the surface, it seemed like they had the perfect little family. But behind closed doors, things weren't so good. Fights, disagreements, and tensions started piling up, and by 2015, their marriage was falling apart. That year, they began the process of separating and filing for divorce. Like many newly single people, Ashley was eager to put herself back out there. So around 2015, she created her very first Instagram account. At first, she was just learning the ropes, posting occasional updates about her life and whatever was on her mind. But over time, she got more comfortable sharing personal details, slowly building a small following. By 2017, her divorce from Israel was finalized, making her officially a single mom of two. Now, if we want to understand the kind of person Ashley was during those days, the best way is to look into her early Instagram posts. Her interactions, her attitude, and the way she engaged with her followers back then gives us an idea of the woman she was before the social media storm truly hit. After the creation of her Instagram account, Ashley made some posts already calling herself a single mother and her struggle to provide for her young girls. She also made a post of her and her ex-husband from their prom days, talking about how she still cared about him and how he was ignorant of that fact. During this time, she was going through the difficulties of divorce, which was taking a toll on her. Later, towards the end of 2015, she made a disturbing and sad post on Facebook, which she shared on her Instagram page, talking about how her kids would spend their first holiday without their father, and how she didn't know how she would cope with the new family dynamic. Despite going through a difficult divorce, she still found a way to appreciate the father of her kids sometime in mid-2016 by sharing a picture of both of them. This sentiment did not sit well with some people who believed that since they were not on good terms and going through a divorce, she wasn't supposed to be making such positive remarks about her husband, especially on social media. I think it's unfair for them to judge her this way. After receiving comments and disagreements about her approach from some people, she decided to make a post addressing them. This is a man she had known for over a decade, someone who had been a big part of her life. No matter how many issues they were dealing with, there were still moments when she missed him or found herself thinking about him. And honestly, that's completely normal for someone in her situation. People expected her to move on quickly, as if 14 years of being with someone could just disappear in a matter of months. But it doesn't work like that. Healing from a long-term relationship takes time, especially when there's a deep history involved. She admitted, "If I didn't love him, I probably wouldn't be this hurt. But he's the one who stepped out of our marriage and started another family." That, for her, was the ultimate betrayal. He secretly started another life with someone else behind her back, and that's what led to their marriage falling apart. It wasn't about disagreements or growing apart. It was about trust being broken in a way she couldn't ignore. It seems like she was the one who filed for divorce, not because she stopped loving him, but because she knew she couldn't stay in a marriage where she felt so betrayed. But it didn't take long after she shared those feelings for another issue to pop up between her and her soon-to-be ex-husband. This time it was about the kids. One day, without telling her, Israel showed up at their kids' school and took them out for lunch. To some people, that might not seem like a big deal, but for Ashley, it was frustrating, especially considering that at the time, he still hadn't started paying child support. She had been left to handle everything on her own, financially, emotionally, and physically, while he was out there starting a whole new life with his new family. In her eyes, it was about responsibility. While she was the one making sure the kids had food, clothes, and a roof over their heads, he was out playing fun dad without contributing to their actual well-being. And now with another family to take care of, she knew that things were only going to get more complicated. Meeting the needs of one family is already hard enough. Trying to provide for two, that's a whole different struggle. And from the way things were going, it was clear who was going to be left carrying the heavier load. While at it, she never stopped trying to get a better job to take care of her kids. And then something unexpected happened. In early 2017, Ashley found herself in a new relationship, this time with an older man in his 30s. After 2 years of being single and dealing with all the drama from her divorce, she finally decided to give love another shot. And of course, she wasn't about to keep it private. She shared the news on her Instagram, letting everyone know that for the first time since splitting from Israel, she was officially in a relationship again. Excited about this new chapter, she posted, "He asked me to be his girlfriend and I said yes. I can't wait to see what's in store for us." The love was so strong that she eventually got his name tattooed on her body and shared it with her followers on Instagram. But as we would witness with many of her relationships, this didn't last long and their relationship ended. For her love life, things only got worse, and her choice of men shifted from reasonable older men to very rough criminal younger men. More on this later. Then on June 6, 2017, after 2 years of separation from her husband, Ashley's divorce was finally complete and official. About 3 months after she posted about her divorce being official, Ashley was back on Instagram with another big announcement. She had found love again. But this wasn't any usual relationship. This was the start of her, let's call it, interesting dating life. Her new man was an unusual choice. He had tattoos covering his body, even creeping up his neck, making it clear that he was no stranger to ink. Sure, he had a decent-looking face, but something about him just didn't scream responsible partner material. His whole vibe felt a little off, like the kind of guy you wouldn't exactly bring home to impress your parents. It turned out that this mystery man wasn't some edgy tattooed bad boy. He was actually in prison. Ashley, however, didn't seem to think that was a deal breaker. In fact, she was all in. She posted, "He is away from me, but these years will go by so fast, and I can't wait to become Mrs. Gonzalez." Eventually, she called it as it was and posted that she was a prison wife. She explained how she was able to connect with him through calls and supervised visitations, and she also posted a picture of them when they were able to do their first picture. It seems like she is in love for real this time. She later posted on her Instagram, "Y'all, God is amazing. I finally got a 4-hour contact visit with my handsome husband. We finally got to hug, kiss, and hold hands the whole time. I think we both fell in love with each other a lot more." Ashley went through with the wedding, but of course she did it in her unconventional way. Her husband wasn't there in person because, well, he was still behind bars. So instead of the usual wedding ceremony, she held up a picture of him as a stand-in for his presence. And just like that, in her mind, they were officially husband and wife. She didn't care what people thought. She wasn't looking for approval or validation. As far as she was concerned, their love was real, and that was all that mattered. Even though most people would probably hesitate to commit to someone serving time, Ashley fully embraced the role of a prison wife. And at this point, she wasn't famous yet. She was just another woman on social media, sharing her life with whoever cared to watch. But she'd already started making a name for herself in the prison wife community, proudly using the hashtag #PrisonWife in her posts without a hint of shame. One of the most controversial things she did during this time was take her kids to visit her incarcerated husband on visitation days. I won't be sharing the face of the kids as they'd be blurred out for their privacy. She even claimed that she took her kids to go see their father, already claiming that he is the kids' father. This is where things get concerning. Not because Ashley is dating an inmate, But because of the types of crimes he was convicted of, this wasn't some petty theft or minor offense. The man she chose to be with was in prison for arson, robbery, and even murder. Serious crimes that led to him being sentenced to 45 years behind bars. He was someone society deemed dangerous enough to be locked away for nearly half a century. And yet, despite his record, Ashley publicly defended him. On her page, she talked about his life behind bars, sharing his journey in prison as if it were some kind of inspirational story. She explained how he had been locked up since he was just 16 years old and how over the years he was supposedly working on himself, rehabilitating, re-educating, and trying to be a better person. Now, people can change. There are cases of inmates turning their lives around, but the question is, why is Ashley always the one giving them that chance? Why is she constantly putting herself and, more importantly, her kids around men with such dangerous histories? She even went further to make a video to address those who are criticizing her for letting her kids meet her prison husband.
I just wanted y'all to basically get to know who I was. Like I said, I have 2 little girls and they are my world, and he accepts them, which is really good. And I know a lot of people have, their opinions about it. You shouldn't bring your kids, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. But you know what? If I didn't think he was good, trust me, I wouldn't have my kids around that.
Let's have a little diversion. Back then in 2019, Ashley created her first TikTok account. At the time, she wasn't famous. She was just another person on the app, doing the same basic trends as everyone else. But that changed when she discovered TikTok Live. Once she realized the power of going live, everything changed. She started streaming for hours, entertaining whoever would watch, and slowly building a small audience. Before long, TikTok Live became her main focus, and her posts on Instagram started slowing down. After all, why spend time posting pictures when she could have instant interaction with her viewers in real time and get gifted while in the process? At this point, she still had a regular job. She was working as a dental office receptionist. But after work, instead of resting, she would hop on TikTok Live for hours, talking, venting, and making sure she stayed connected with her growing audience before heading to bed.
Yeah, I did have a 9 to 5. And was this happening anyway? It was still happening, yes. I've worked at my last job that I had. I worked there for 6.5 years. Up until December 23rd of this past December 2024, okay. I got fired. And I just put that out there, literally on TikTok, because people were like, you don't know how to work, you don't have a job, you don't have this, you don't have that. Well, why do y'all think I wasn't coming on TikTok till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, my time? I had a 9 to 5. I worked. I first started actually my TikTok back in 2019. Nobody ever pre-COVID. Yeah, they don't know that. But I was actually a prison wife. So, yeah.
Here, Ashley is being completely upfront about her need for money. No sugarcoating, no pretending. She's boldly encouraging her viewers to send her gifts and money without a hint of shame. And honestly, she doesn't care how it looks.
Bro, okay? We're gonna be money hungry. We're gonna stay on podium for 3 days in a row. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't care if y'all have a family to feed or what. I want every single coin that y'all can give me.
Now back to our main story. For about 5 months, everything seemed to be going smoothly, or at least as smoothly as a marriage with an incarcerated husband could go. But then, in early 2020, Ashley took to Instagram with some unexpected news. She and her prison husband had broken up. She sounded uncertain about their future, admitting that she wasn't sure if they could come back from whatever had happened. For someone who had been so proudly waving the prison wife flag, this was a big shift. But the breakup didn't last long. Whatever the issue was, it got smoothed over, and soon enough they were back to being husband and wife. And as if to prove her undying commitment, she did something that had already become a bit of a pattern for her. She got his name tattooed on her arm. Just like she had done with a previous man she dated, she marked her skin with his name, as if sealing their love in ink would make it last forever. Despite all the love and grand declarations, Ashley's perfect prison marriage eventually came to an end. The exact reason for the breakup is something only she truly knows. She didn't spill too many details, but she did make one thing clear. Her daughters would always come first. She admitted that she never expected to be going through another divorce so soon, but here she was, back in the same spot she had been not too long ago. And of course, she wasn't going to let the moment pass without sharing it online. She recorded a short video of herself submitting her divorce papers to the court, making sure everyone knew that this chapter of her life was officially closing. Even though this seemed like the end of her prison wife era, it was just the beginning of her new social media niche. Rather than stepping away from dating inmates, Ashley continued. Over the years, she went on to date a couple more men behind bars, each one bringing their own set of unique and often concerning issues, and she made this known to the public in the past.
Last time I checked, so Jesse was number, I think he was like 20 something, like 25 maybe, and I've only talked to one more after him, so probably 26 in the last 5 years.
That is a lot!
As expected, people started asking the obvious question, why? Why would she keep bringing these kinds of men into her life? Especially when she had 2 daughters to think about. These were men with serious pasts, men who had proven they were capable of things no mother would ever want near her children. But Ashley didn't seem to look at it that way. Ashley was just getting started. Some people might say that Ashley's only dating all these criminals for the attention, that she's using it to build her online presence and to keep people talking. And honestly, they might not be wrong. But you have to remember that her first inmate husband came into the picture long before she had any real fame. Back then, she wasn't trying to go viral or chase clout. She made a conscious decision to be with him, fully aware of his past. It wasn't about followers or engagement, it was simply what she wanted. So if we're being real, Ashley probably genuinely likes these kinds of men. There's something about them that draws her in. Maybe it's the bad boy appeal, the thrill of the forbidden, or even the sense of loyalty she feels by standing by someone society has written off. Now, does she also benefit from the controversy? Absolutely. The more people talk, the more attention she gets, and she doesn't mind. But at the end of the day, even without the cameras rolling, it seems like Ashley would still be chasing after men with criminal records, whether people are watching or not. We later learned more details about her prison husband, whom she dated before fame. She claimed that she had known him since they were kids, when she was 15 years old and he was 9 years old.
This is him when we first met, and this is him like when he first went in. He went in at 15. He doesn't see parole until 2032. And he's been in since 2010 because he is 29 right now. He's 6 years younger than me. I knew him since since he was 11. I knew him since he was 11 and I was like 15 or 16, maybe younger, because I was like 15. So he had to have been like 9 when I first met him. And they used to go to our church. So I remember telling his mom, because I always thought he was a cute little boy, you know, but I was older and I was already dating the kid's dad, so I couldn't be with him, you know. Once I got married, you know, I used to always tell his mom, because he grew up quick, I would tell his mom, like, I'm gonna be your daughter-in-law one day. I'm gonna be your daughter-in-law one day. She's like, no, you're not. My Flacco's too young for you. Well, then in 2019, I reconnected with her Flacco.
Well, also, you know, I've known his family for years, and they were really good family friends of ours. And this year, me and him reconnected again, and one thing led to another. We were writing letters back and forth, you know, just seeing how each other were. I started the conversation. I'm the one that wrote him first, and, you know, when he replied, I was so happy. I couldn't wait. I hadn't heard from him in 9 years. We lost contact for 9 years. And, you know, he's been in there for 10 years. So, yeah, we lost contact, but whenever I reconnected back with him, it was like we never lost contact. So, if that makes sense. But, yeah, so we were like, you know, writing each other, telling each other how we felt. I've known him for about 13 years. And, backstory is we couldn't be together back then because we both had our own lives. He is younger than me though, so, you know, that was a little bit of the situation, but I was also with my kid's dad. So, you know,
So as it turns out, Ashley's timeline with her inmate husband Isaiah is even messier than people originally thought. While she was still married to her ex-husband, the father of her 2 kids, she was already in contact with Isaiah. This was before she even initiated her divorce. She had another man lined up waiting in the wings. It wasn't until after her divorce was official that she fully committed to Isaiah and turned their connection into a serious relationship, even though he was 6 years younger than her.
well, also, you know, I've known his family for years, and they were really good family friends of ours. And this year, me and him reconnected again, and one thing led to another. We were writing letters back and forth, you know, just seeing how each other were. I started the conversation. I'm the one that wrote him first. And when he replied, I was so happy. I couldn't wait. I hadn't heard from him in 9 years. We lost contact for 9 years. And, you know, he's been in there for 10 years. So, yeah, we lost contact, but whenever I reconnected back with him, it was like we never lost contact. So, if that makes sense. But, yeah, so we were like, writing each other, telling each other how we felt. And then I finally just had to give it to him. I was just like, I like you. I really like you. I don't want to lose contact anymore. And so, we started chit-chatting a little more. And then, the phone calls started coming, visitations started coming. And
most people probably assumed that Ashley's relationship with Isaiah would be a one-time thing, a weird phase she'd eventually grow out of. After all, dating a man in prison for 45 years isn't exactly the dream. We don't know exactly what caused their marriage to end, but if I had to guess, it likely had to do with the obvious problem. He was locked up. No matter how much she tried to romanticize the prison wife's life, the reality was that he wasn't there to be a real partner. No date nights, no lazy Sundays together, no family outings, just scheduled visits, phone calls, and letters. For someone like Ashley, who loves attention, that probably wasn't enough. So you'd think she'd learn from that experience and move on. Instead, she jumped into another relationship with another inmate. At this point, people had to wonder, why would she keep choosing unavailable men? She gave her answer in the next clip.
I was growing up going into prisons to visit my dad's best friend. So I would always watch cop shows, like the TV show Cops. I would always watch that show. I always watched like crime documentaries. I always watched like 911. So I was always into that kind of stuff since I was a young girl.
Ashley has been pretty honest about why she's so drawn to men in prison. According to her, this fascination started when she was just a little girl. Something about troubled men, outcasts, or people society had given up on always seemed to pull her in, starting with when her father would take her to prison to visit a friend. But isn't she doing the same thing to her daughters? Earlier, we talked about how she took her kids to visit Isaiah in prison, exposing them to this lifestyle at such a young age. What if her daughters grow up thinking this is normal? What if they start believing that dating men who are unavailable, irresponsible, or even dangerous is just part of life? Instead of breaking the cycle, Ashley seems to be passing it down. Kids learn by watching their parents, and what they see in their childhood shapes how they approach relationships later in life. If they grow up seeing their mom prioritizing men in prison, defending them, and making excuses for their actions, they might start believing that this is what love looks like. At the very least, shouldn't she be keeping her kids out of it? If she insists on making these choices for herself, fine. But why involve her daughters? Ashley claims she loves her kids and puts them first, but actions speak louder than words.
And then, as I got older, I just had this thing to be with somebody incarcerated. I don't know, I liked bad boys, okay? So, yeah, that's how my prison lifestyle started. I wasn't just brought into this life, It was literally, since the age of my sister wouldn't go, I would be the only one. So it would always be, or my dad would be like, okay, who wants to go with me? And I would always say me. I just had this thing about prisons. I don't know what it is, to be honest. So yeah, that's what started my prison life, to be honest, you guys.
If you pay close attention to how Ashley tries to explain her attraction to these men, you'll notice something. She struggles to put it into words. It's almost like she doesn't fully understand it herself. But there's a term for people like her, and it's more than just a weird preference, it's a psychological thing. What Ashley is experiencing is called hybristophilia, an attraction to people who have committed crimes, especially violent ones. It's often referred to as the Bonnie and Clyde syndrome, where some individuals feel a deep fascination, even romantic obsession with criminals. For some, it's about the thrill of danger. The idea of loving someone society is labeled as untouchable. For others, it's a fixer mentality. They believe they can change these men, save them, or be the ones who truly understand them. And for some, it's simply an addiction, a pattern they can't seem to break, no matter how toxic or damaging it is. In Ashley's case, she did try a normal relationship. She married the father of her 2 kids and built a life with him. But in the end, he betrayed her. He went behind her back, started another family, and shattered the trust she had in him. That kind of hurt runs deep, and it's not something you just get over easily. So maybe that's part of why she started gravitating toward inmates. Think about it. When a man is locked up, he can't leave her, cheat on her, or start another family behind her back. He's stuck in one place, completely dependent on her love and attention. In a way, it gives her a sense of control and security, something she didn't have in her past relationship. But then she had something different along the line with a young club promoter called Santos.
How do you feel that your mom stole your crush?
How do you feel about being bald?
Why would you ask her that? Why would you ask her that?
It turns out that Santos wasn't some random guy. He was also fairly popular on TikTok. Ashley didn't find him on her own. She learned about him from her daughter, who had a huge crush on him. And what does Ashley do? Instead of respecting that boundary, she follows Santos on TikTok, reaches out to him, and starts dating him. That's why Santos even jokingly asked Ashley's daughter how she felt about her mother stealing him from her. Ugh, honestly, that is gross. What kind of mother does that? How do you take an interest in a guy your daughter liked, knowing full well that it would make things awkward and uncomfortable for her? That's selfish and very weird. And guess what?
It's my You wanna know how I smell? As Santos, he never smell well.
Ashley didn't only steal her daughter's crush, she even recorded a song with him in December of 2024. That was the song you heard her singing. It's called Nunu. The story behind the name of that song is something truly disgusting. I wouldn't want to say what it means here, but for context, here's a video that gives you an idea of what it's all about.
I've already seen his pee-pee, and he's already seen my Nunu, okay? I've seen his pee-pee, and he's seen the Nunu. Wanna know how it smells? As Santos, he does smell well.
I really don't want to say anything about that disgusting song. I'm sure you've already gotten the point. Problems started when Ashley, for the sake of engagement, showed a peek of her breast to Santos with thousands of people watching on Instagram Live.
Yo, it's y'all go to my Instagram right now. I'm literally seeing beautifulness. Oh my God.
There were so many people on that live stream, and the majority of them were not on Ashley's side. Most viewers were opposed to what she was doing, calling her out. But of course, some found it entertaining and screen recorded everything, knowing it was going to blow up online. And that's exactly what happened. The clip went viral. That viral moment is what ultimately led to Ashley getting fired from her job. Her reckless behavior online finally caught up with her, and her employer didn't want someone bringing that kind of attention to their workplace. She later talked about the whole situation on a podcast she was invited to, where she tried to explain herself.
Up until December 23rd of this past December 2024, I got fired.
Fired?
Yes.
For what?
The trolls from TikTok literally sent my owner a video of me showing my nip. Yes. Yes, so they fired me.
Your boss saw your nip.
Literally. And then somebody took a picture of me at my desk and posted it all over TikTok. One of the patients did.
Wait, where did you work?
I worked at a dental office in Arlington, Texas.
To be honest, what was Ashley expecting when she showed something like that online? It was obvious that such behavior wouldn't be tolerated and would lead to her being fired. How did she not realize this was a possibility before showing her body on the internet? Well, here's her excuse.
How did that even happen?
What?
The slip.
I was drunk on live with Santos. Yes. Literally. I'm gonna do the walk of shame now.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed for it.
She should be more than ashamed of herself. On countless occasions, she's been warned about excessive drinking while on live video, but she never listens. In my opinion, she was fully aware of her decision to show her body. The alcohol was just a convenient excuse to avoid taking responsibility for her actions. The relationship with Santos has always been long distance since they were in different states, but eventually they arranged to meet. Santos flew over to see Ashley, and everything was live streamed on TikTok. And don't forget, this is the guy Ashley's daughter had a crush on, and he was on his way to their home.
Santos finally arrives to Dallas, and Ashley gets scared to meet Santos.
Look, I'm getting closer and closer to you. I already know you're gonna fall in love with me. Am I gonna get that PS5?
You are gonna get the PS5 and anything else you want.
Okay, I'm so happy.
How many games do you want?
Hey, what game have we not got? The GTA 6 coming out right now? GTA 6? Black Ops 6?
What other games?
What other game? 2K, can I get 2K too?
This whole relationship feels like one between mother and son rather than two mature adults in a real relationship. It was as if a teenage boy was emotionally manipulating his mom, trying to sweet-talk her into buying him video games so he could impress his friends when they came over. So, while Ashley and Santos were enjoying each other's company during the December 2024 holiday season, things eventually got out of control. There was a lot of noise and chaotic behavior, and unsurprisingly, the police got called on them. When the cops arrived, they asked for Santos's ID. Instead of handing over his real identification, he gave them a fake one. But after some investigation, the truth came out that Santos was just 19 years old. This was Ashley's reaction when the police confronted her about Santos's age.
Yes. So you know, this gentleman is 19 years old, okay? So...
But he's not drinking.
I had a reason to be here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He's 19 years old. Nobody's going to jail. You need to be a little more aware of who's coming to your house.
Can you please tell them to quit harassing my dad?
No.
That's a lie. Ashley and Santos had been out partying and clubbing multiple times since he came to see her, and there is no way she can claim that she didn't drink at all during that time. Ashley is known for her drinking habit. She doesn't just drink casually, she drinks on live streams, in front of her kids, and at every opportunity she gets. So we're supposed to believe that while clubbing and partying with Santos, they suddenly decided to stay sober? Yeah, not a chance.
Don't you worry
That's y'all on TikTok.
No, but they're on the phone. Fuck you.
Here's your ID.
Can I put the, open up your
Here's your ID back.
Thank you.
Just be a little more aware who you got coming here.
There was no proof that she did anything illegal with Santos, so she was let off the hook. Now, this is why I truly believe she had alcohol with Santos while he was with her.
But at the beginning, I never knew Santos was 19. I thought he was 24. When he showed me the military ID that he had on him, it said 24. The birthday was 2000. So therefore, I never knew Santos' real age.
If Ashley truly believed Santos was 24, she would have no problem with him drinking because in her mind, he'd be an adult, fully capable of making his own choices. And let's not forget that Ashley is an alcoholic herself. So why should she suddenly be opposed to someone else drinking, especially her boyfriend?
I didn't know his real age. He told me he was 24. I believed it.
He told me that too, and he sent me his ID, which is his,
I seen that military ID, yes.
yeah, his military ID
until
was
the
fake.
cop told me how old he was, I never knew. And y'all could sit there and say, oh, she's lying, she knew. No, I didn't, because he showed me and Heffa the same ID off of lie.
This is exactly why dating someone significantly younger is risky, especially when you don't even bother verifying their real age. Situations like this can happen, and if Santos had been just 2 years younger under the legal age, things could have been bad for her. If the police had found out she was partying, drinking, and possibly involved with a minor, Ashley could have ended up in jail for a very long time. And honestly, she got lucky this time. But if she keeps making these reckless choices, next time she might not get off so easy. I mean, just look at this.
Fuck, I can't even get walls right now, bro.
Yeah.
Stop. I got you. I told you that. I told you I got you. I got you. I got you, babe. I got you, babe. Stop. I got you. Stop.
Why is he crying? Well, let's look at the facts. He's just 19 years old, barely an adult. He's only 2 or 3 years older than Ashley's eldest daughter, while Ashley herself is 17 years older than him. The pressure, energy, and stress that comes with being with a woman nearly twice his age must have been completely overwhelming for him. This wasn't some normal relationship. He was dealing with a woman who lives on online issues and public outrage. It's also possible that while looking at the comments, he saw something that finally made him realize how ridiculous this situation is. Maybe someone pointed out the obvious, that he's with a woman old enough to be his mother, that he got caught up in something way too big for him, and that he's in way over his head. I mean, the way she refers to him alone is enough for him to run and leave her as soon as possible.
Is Santos your new boyfriend? People
No,
are saying?
he's just a boy toy.
And he's 19? How old are you?
He's here for the tea.
I'm trying to get the tea.
No, I didn't know he was 19 at first.
Wait, you're pregnant? Somebody said you're pregnant?
No, I got rid. No, I'm not pregnant no more.
All Ashley sees in Santos is a boy toy, someone she can play around with, show off online, and use to keep people watching her live streams. And now things are getting even more suspicious. It seems like she aborted his baby because she casually said she isn't pregnant anymore with no real explanation. As for Santos, the only reason he's still sticking around is the clout. Think about it. Before Ashley, he was probably just a low-level club promoter and a small-time TikTok personality. He had some following, but nothing major. Then Ashley reached out, and now almost everyone knows who he is. For someone trying to build an online career, this is huge. The more he stays attached to Ashley, the more views, engagement, and exposure he gets. And for an influencer like him, that's something he won't want to let go of easily. But eventually, there is always a limit to what one person can tolerate. This led to a lot of back and forth between then and the subsequent days to come.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm good, bro. Like, you made me wait, really?
Bro, you think I wanted to? Bro, I did not want to make you wait. Honestly, I didn't slip at all.
Okay, well, just enjoy your night with them little hoes. No, because I made a controversy for you. For what? For what? For what? He knows he don't want to lose me. He don't want to lose me. He don't want to lose me. Because he knows if he loses me, it's over.
There was even a time when Santos admitted to talking to Ashley's daughter behind her back. The same daughter who had a crush on him before Ashley started dating him. That's just messy. First of all, why is he even communicating with her daughter in secret? It's already disturbing that Ashley went after a guy her daughter liked, but now he's having conversations with her daughter behind her back? Hopefully this time, Ashley won't react out of spite and drag her daughter by the hair like she's done in the past. More on this later. But given her history of resentment toward her daughter, especially when it comes to men and attention, it wouldn't be surprising if this situation turns into yet another toxic and ugly mess.
You be thinking about me, be honest.
No.
I got back with Shawty Bae. Me and Shawty Bae are like locked in again.
I heard. I seen all the videos. You were calling her mommy and everything.
What? I can't have both of you at the same time?
I don't share.
Oh my gosh. And then Haley was calling me saying that she misses her stepdad.
Oh, I heard. You gave me triple the views, huh? Is that
Why would Ashley's daughter be calling Santos, telling him that she misses him? That's one complicated, messy, and disturbing situation right there. It makes you wonder, is Ashley's daughter just emotionally attached because of all the chaos surrounding them? Or is she trying to reclaim what was originally hers? On top of all this confusion, Ashley and Santos eventually began accusing each other of SA.
Okay, but you said I SA'd you?
You said that about me.
No, you said
You said that about me.
Did I SA you?
Answer this. You said that about me, yes or no? You said that about me on your live. That's all you said.
Hold on, my daughters.
It got so bad that Ashley used her daughters as a weapon to mock Santos, having them say that they didn't know him before their mother introduced him to them. We all know that's a lie, but it was enough to provoke Santos into an emotional outburst.
I didn't even know you until my mom. Yeah, we didn't know you, Haley. Oh, wait. Okay.
That's Cap. You told your mom something else.
Okay, shush. You're irrelevant, though. You're irrelevant.
You say you.
Shut, bro. Shut. Stop, bro. That ain't even funny, bro. Mom.
For some time, Santos and Ashley continued attacking each other on their page. However, not long after, Santos ended his relationship with Ashley and made it public.
Mrs. Nunu, I'm officially done with you publicly and privately. I blocked your number and I got your Your kids sleep on air mattresses. I saw one of them pop. And no, it does not smell well. You can ask Santo.
Another unusual relationship that Ashley had was with an inmate named Jesse. They had been dating for a few weeks, and just days after meeting in person, she was already calling him her husband.
Oh, tell Jesse to tat your face on him. I don't need my face tatted on Jesse. I'm good. I don't need a tattoo to symbolize what I am to my husband, as long as I know where I stand with my husband.
That wasn't the only unusual part of their reunion. When Jesse arrived at her place from prison for the first time, there were many questions surrounding the live video she made that day. Let's take a look.
What does it say? Look at the basket. Welcome, Jesse. Be good to her, please.
This was the first time Ashley and Jesse were meeting outside of prison, and honestly, the whole thing felt a little off. Throughout the video, Jesse seemed uncomfortable, like he didn't want to be there, or at least he wasn't loving the fact that she had a camera on him the entire time. Maybe he was just camera shy, or maybe there was more to it. It's possible that for Jesse, being with Ashley was more about convenience than actual love. After all, getting out of prison is tough. No money, no job, no real stability. And here's Ashley ready to support him, hype him up, and take care of him while he figures things out. It wouldn't be the first time an ex-con latched onto someone just to get back on their feet. One thing was clear though, he didn't exactly look thrilled to see her. At one time, Ashley revealed that she didn't know what he looked like before they met in person.
I don't even know how he looks. I don't know how he looks.
This must explain the strange interaction between them when they met. They were essentially strangers in a way, having only communicated through the phone. But as expected and as seen in Jesse's reaction in the video, it didn't take long for things to go bad between them.
He's not a nice person. Jesse's a really mean, ugly person. Y'all don't know what I've had to endure the last 2 weeks, okay? I'm not wanting to bash him. He's not a...
Suddenly, the love of her life, the man she was already calling her husband, is now mean and ugly? Really, Ashley? Didn't she know what he looked like before? Didn't she notice his attitude before? If we as outsiders could pick up on Jesse's energy just from a short TikTok clip, his distant behavior, his lack of enthusiasm, the way he seemed off, how did she miss all of this from the start? The truth is, she probably did see it, she just chose to ignore it. Ashley likely thought she had all the power in this relationship. While Jesse was locked up, he was completely dependent on her for emotional support, money, and even just a sense of connection to the outside world. In prison, she was his lifeline. She got to be the one in control, the one he needed. But now he's free. And with that freedom, things shifted. She can't dictate his every move anymore. She can't be his only option. And suddenly she's losing control. Now that Jesse has his own choices, he's not acting the way she expected.
nice person. Jesse let all these females make him feel like he was just the most man out there, using me for clout, because without Ashley, Jesse's not nothing. Without Ashley, there's not no Jesse.
Control was always the whole point. Ashley wanted a relationship and she wanted to be the boss. She wanted to call the shots, to be the one Jesse owed his success to. That's why now that things are falling apart, she's claiming that she made Jesse, that she clouted him and put him in a position where people even know his name. She built him up in her mind. So he should have stayed loyal and grateful, only wanting her. But that's not how things work. Jesse is still Jesse. She might have thought he would automatically stay faithful and devoted once he got out because she supported him while he was locked up. But the reality is, he's a bad guy. He doesn't have the same sense of loyalty she expected. Now that he's free, he's exploring his options, especially with beautiful women who are reaching out to him. And the fact that he's still dependent on Ashley isn't stopping him from doing exactly what he wants. There were a lot of questions regarding the video she made about Jesse, so she decided to make another video addressing it and explaining why she called him out.
Why did you guys break up? Because of social media. A lot of females were in his inbox and I just didn't have the trust. I would tell him I wish he was back in prison just because I knew I trusted him in prison, because nobody knew who he was. Nobody was writing him. Nobody was he wasn't calling them, you know. Like when he came out, I let him have social media. I gave him a little cheap phone. I told him, make a TikTok, babe, make a TikTok. And that was my biggest mistake, was to let him get involved in the social media life.
It's honestly sad to see how she's reacting to all of this. She's stuck in a cycle, and no matter how many times history repeats itself, she just can't break free. I think her failed marriage left a deep emotional wound, and instead of healing, it's changed the way she sees relationships entirely. There was a psychological shift. She no longer gives relationships the time to grow, nor does she work through problems. Instead, the moment something seems off, she runs. Since leaving her marriage, she hasn't had a single long-term relationship. Every guy she gets with, she dumps at the first sign of trouble. She'd rather end things first than risk being betrayed again. Take Jesse, for example. Her big issue with him wasn't even actual cheating. She broke up with him because he was getting attention from other women in his DMs. There was no proof he was doing anything intimate with them, but that didn't matter to her. She couldn't even wait for something to happen. Just the possibility was enough for her to call it quits. For those who think her behavior was justified, it's important to note that there was plenty of blame to go around, especially when it came to Ashley's insecurity. She wanted to track everything he did, and her inability to do so often led to violent behavior.
Pair this to this.
You gotta do it, babe. I don't know why do you have a code on it?
Because.
Why do you have a password on your phone?
Hold on.
She was upset when she realized she couldn't access Jesse's phone. It was one of those moments where you could see her frustration, even though she tried to play it down. and then the video led to her slapping him, but I had to cut that part out because, well, physical aggression isn't okay no matter how upset someone is. What's interesting is how she laughed it off as if it was no big deal, like the slap and her obvious discomfort over not being able to check his phone didn't matter. But we all know that if the cameras weren't rolling, she might have reacted very differently. The breakup between Ashley and Jesse seemed to have gone smoothly, but something unexpected happened. Ashley went live to announce her new pregnancy.
I was ovulating the day after the day he came home. We can all be your baby daddy. You want to be my baby daddy? No, I already told Jesse that if I'm pregnant, I told him on the way to Irving. I said, on the way to Irving, I told him, I said, look, if I'm pregnant, because I told him, I said, I start my period in 3 days. And he's like, what are you telling me? I said, I'm just saying, I start my period in 3 days. And he's like, what are you telling me, Ashley? And I was like, no, I'm just saying, like, just in case, something happens and I'm pregnant, I don't need you to be there for me. I said, I can raise this baby on my own. I've raised 2 of them on my own. I don't need you to be here to raise my baby. I don't want him to have any updates or anything if I'm pregnant, but we'll find out. I've raised 2 of them on my own, so.
If this turns out to be true, Ashley will have another child to take care of, on top of the 2 she already has. Jesse was never going to be in a position to provide for the baby, whether she wanted him to or not. So when she told him she didn't need his help, it wasn't some serious state of independence, it was just stating the obvious. Jesse barely had his own life together. There was no way he'd suddenly turn into a responsible father overnight, but maybe there was another reason behind her saying it. Maybe she wasn't just trying to brush him off. Maybe she was trying to stop his fatherly instincts from kicking in. Think about it. If Jesse started feeling the pressure of being a dad, he might desperately try to provide. With his background, the quickest way to make money isn't exactly a 9-to-5 job. It's going back to what got him locked up in the first place. Ashley might have realized this and wanted to cut that thought off early. If she made it clear that she didn't expect anything from him, he wouldn't feel obligated to make money by any means necessary, which in his case could mean falling right back into crime. Not long after that, she came on live video to give her viewers some updates on her pregnancy.
I won't drink past, once I find out if I'm pregnant, I'm not drinking no more. Once I find out for sure if I'm pregnant, I'm not drinking. I am off of it for 9 months.
The reason Ashley is saying she isn't sure if she's pregnant is simply because she hasn't seen her period, but instead of getting tested, she's avoiding the hospital altogether. Now this has got people divided. Some of her fans believe she's just milking the pregnancy rumors to keep people talking about her. After all, she loves attention, and this wouldn't be the first time she's doing stuff like this for engagement. But others see it differently. They think she's just scared to confirm the truth. Some people avoid hospital tests because they fear the worst. And maybe deep down she knows that if she is pregnant, her entire life is about to change again. But regardless of why she's holding off on taking a test, there's one thing that's just irresponsible. She's still drinking alcohol while knowing there's a chance she might be pregnant. This is where common sense should kick in. If there's even a possibility that she's carrying a child, she should immediately stop drinking until she's sure. Alcohol can seriously harm a developing fetus. This is her response to the backlash she got for her irresponsibility.
I'm not gonna answer yes or no if I'm pregnant. That's not what I'm gonna do. You're gonna have to wait. Y'all are not anybody important to me. So for me to just sit here and say, no, I'm not pregnant. Yes, I'm pregnant. Y'all are not important to me. I don't even know.
Ashley is just being stubborn at this point. It's not about people trying to meddle in her life. They're only concerned about the unborn child and how her reckless choices could affect its future. People weren't pressuring her because they wanted to control her. No one cared if she drank alcohol or not. They just wanted her to take responsibility and do what was necessary. But instead of listening to reason, she kept pushing back, acting as if everyone was attacking her personally. But of course, Ashley couldn't handle the backlash. Once it became too much to ignore, she finally went and got tested. And just like that, she came online to announce to her viewers that she is, in fact, pregnant.
The pregnancy test. I know they want me to show it. I'm not going to, though. They'll have to wait. So happy. Thank you. Will you make a wish list? Probably not. I didn't. No, I'm not going to tell him, you guys. It's strictly me only. I mean, if he finds out, it's from y'all. But other than that, it's just me. I'm going to do everything by myself.
Some of Ashley's viewers weren't buying it. The moment she announced her pregnancy, skepticism kicked in and people started questioning her. They speculated that if she were to later come online and say she's no longer pregnant, her viewership would take a hit, because without the controversy, she wouldn't have anything dramatic enough to keep people engaged. The pregnancy storyline was fueling her content, and if it suddenly disappeared, so would the attention. That's why her audience started demanding proof. They wanted her to show the actual pregnancy test, but Ashley refused. Now, to be fair, it's her body, it's her decision, and she doesn't owe anyone proof. But at the same time, her history makes it hard for people to just take her word for it. And by declining to show the test, she only strengthened the argument that she might be lying about the pregnancy. Their suspicion was confirmed when she came online to announce that she had lost the baby.
Were you ever pregnant? Yes, unfortunately I was. But the stress gets to you. Unfortunately I was. I was very sad, but I was happy at the same time.
It was only a matter of time before people saw through Ashley's lies about the pregnancy. I mean, how do you claim to be pregnant, but there's no child to show for it in the end? No baby bump, no visible changes in her body, just the same perfectly filtered Instagram selfies and TikToks. At some point, people were going to connect the dots and realize that something wasn't adding up. So the easiest way out was to say she lost the baby. That way, she wouldn't have to explain why there was no pregnancy to begin with. But Ashley doesn't do anything. She has no job outside of the money she makes from being online. So how is she so stressed that she lost a baby? She's not overworked, and she's not struggling to balance a full-time career with parenting. So what exactly caused this mystery miscarriage? Then came the weirdest part, when she said she was both sad and happy about losing the child. Happy? Why would anyone feel relief about a miscarriage unless they knew deep down they weren't ready to have a baby in the first place? Maybe she realized that another child would be too much of a financial burden, especially when she already has 2 to take care of. Even Jesse didn't believe that Ashley was pregnant during those times.
And do you believe she's pregnant or possibly?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, because she over there drinking.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's her life. You know, that's why I say, you know, this is the last time I'm going to, you know, actually get out, like put this information out there. I'm not going to ever, mention her. I'm trying to get past it, you know, mentally.
Right, oh, right.
I'm done with this already, you know what I'm saying? I'm done. I want to just move on, you know. I don't want to get rid of my TikTok because that's the only way that I communicate with my daughter. Like we're on there, you know, we message back and forth and snap or whatever. But as far as this topic and you know, that's to me that's already overrated. I want to move on, you know what I'm saying? Just today 3 times was I approached in public, nah, I don't need that, you know?
Jesse seems to have gone through some serious trauma with Ashley, and now that he's finally free, all he wants to do is move on and focus on being there for his daughter, something he couldn't do while he was locked up. As for Ashley, it's possible that she genuinely thought she was pregnant at first. Maybe she misread her body's signs, who knows? That would explain why she immediately called Jesse to tell him the news. But at some point, she must have realized the truth that she wasn't pregnant. Now, most people would simply correct themselves and move on. But Ashley, she saw how much attention the pregnancy was getting her, how it kept people glued to her page, and she decided to ride on it for as long as she could. Even Ashley's daughter believes that her mother sometimes lies or manipulates situations to her advantage for social media attention.
I think that maybe sometimes she can exploit situations to get views. I'm gonna be real, yeah. Because that's the game. But that's your kid.
No, not with them.
She just said yes. But have you done that in the past? Have you taken a situation and used it for views regarding the kids? Would you feel like maybe she has done that ever?
Yeah, but not me, my sister. You've taken her when she was sick and you were begging for money.
When?
You said send the Galaxy to know about my baby girl's health when I was in the hospital.
Oh, that's because, that was a while back though. But you weren't even in the hospital.
Yeah, but no, but I still didn't like that.
Yeah. But we've already.
But you wanted my information out for a Galaxy.
This is so sad. Ashley tried to deflect the allegations against her, but her daughters were not willing to let her off the hook in this particular argument. This marked the end of her relationship with Jesse. As I've always said about Ashley's need for control over her partners, she revealed in a live video with another creator one of the reasons she prefers inmates over free men. She also revealed why she felt hurt after breaking up with Jesse.
What the heck? Okay, I have another question. Why do you prefer inmates? I prefer inmates because I feel like if you're gonna get hurt, it's better to get hurt while they're incarcerated than out here in the free world. Because like I just said earlier, my ex Jesse, When he actually left and we broke up, that one hurt. Like, I still feel hurt till this day.
It also turns out that the whole pregnancy situation didn't just come out of the blue. She had planned it all along and hoped to get pregnant by Jesse. The plan was for her to conceive as soon as possible, but her aggression and insecurity didn't even let the relationship last 2 weeks.
Be on TikTok only that first day he's out, which is in 137 days. Once he's actually like at the hotel room with me, we'll probably do like one live together because I'm gonna get a room for the whole weekend with us. But we have a baby to make, so we ain't gonna be on it. We got a baby to make. We are literally gonna try and get me pregnant the first month he's home.
The most concerning part about all of this is the fact that she's allowing her daughters to be exposed to it like it's normal. Let's start with a clip that shows how irresponsible Ashley can be with her children and how blind she is to the influence she's passing on to them, especially when called out by others.
And why do people support you when you have adult toys in front of your minor kids?
Do they with them?
They still touch them. What should we call
They
this?
don't touch that
Then why do they say, oh, what should we call this?
Does it matter, Fonzie? Like, to be honest, my kids are not babies.
Just because her kids are not babies doesn't give her the right to act irresponsibly around them. I don't know how hard it would be for her to put away her toys after using them on herself so her kids don't stumble upon them when they enter her room. Keep in mind that her daughters were around 13 and 15 years old at the time. Now, here's a video of Ashley and one of her daughters acting like kids, throwing shade at Jesse on a live video.
I'm gonna prove all y'all wrong.
We don't need Jesse.
Well, that's sad. Girl, get your own life and quit hating. Y'all are too old to be acting like this. Y'all are acting like teenagers. I'm supposed to be acting like this, not y'all. Get out of here. Get your own life.
And that's exactly the problem. She is just a kid. She shouldn't be involved in her mother's messy relationships, online problems, or breakups. Yet Ashley has no problem dragging her into it, letting her take part in her public drama like it's some sort of entertainment. Instead of protecting her from adult problems, she's normalizing the idea that airing out relationship drama online and publicly taking shots at exes is just how life works. What happens when she grows up? Is she gonna think this is how relationships are supposed to be handled?
I'd be crying if you were my mom. Well, she's not your mom, is she? I feel sorry for y'all. Honey, I feel sorry for your face.
She said I feel sorry for your face.
Somehow Ashley found that funny. Isn't that concerning? That's most likely her second daughter. And at the time, she would have been around 13 years old, still a minor. Yet instead of acting like a responsible mother, Ashley is sitting there laughing. This isn't the first time people have called her out for her questionable parenting, especially when it comes to her drinking habits. She's been drinking on live streams, getting wasted in front of her viewers and kids, and making reckless decisions. The issue here is influence. Kids watch and learn from their parents, and if Ashley is constantly drinking, normalizing such behavior, and allowing them to be part of her online drama, what kind of example is she setting? When it comes to drinking, Ashley is always the careless mother.
Speaking of Eviana, she just Snapchatted me, and she probably seen my drinks and probably is gonna get on to me because I'm drinking. She's probably replying back to my drinks. I cannot with that girl. She's like my little mom, y'all.
This is completely backward. Ashley's youngest daughter, who's around 13 years old, actually had to message her mother to caution her about drinking on a live video. A child is the one warning the parent about her reckless behavior when it should be the other way around. Shouldn't Ashley be the one teaching her kids about the dangers of drinking and setting a good example? And what does Ashley do? Instead of feeling ashamed, she laughs it off and calls her daughter a little mom. That's not cute. That's not funny. That's sad. There was also a time when Ashley's friend had to beg her not to drive her car while she was drunk.
Not going nowhere like that. You're gonna end up on the DUI page. No, I'm not, bro. And then they're really not gonna stop talking. Hey, I want y'all to be my witness that I'm telling her not to leave her house like that. Okay? Y'all are my witness, right? Hey, don't let your mom in your house.
Somebody said call the cops on her.
Y'all are my witness. I told her to stay her ass at home. Nothing. Don't be coming for me later saying I told her to leave me right now.
Can you put them in?
Hello? Oh, I can hear you. Oh, okay. Are you going anywhere or no? I'll be right back.
They might be laughing it off, but this is no joke. This is a serious issue. Ashley's alcoholism is out of control, and even her friend recognized the danger of what she was about to do. That's why she had to cautiously tell Ashley not to drive while drunk. Not in a direct way because she knew Ashley would get defensive, but by wrapping it in humor so Ashley wouldn't take offense. But if you listen closely, there was real concern in her voice. Ashley knows firsthand how negative and brutal the online space can be. She's been dragged, criticized, and torn apart by trolls countless times. So it makes you wonder why she would willingly expose her daughters to the same toxic environment.
You know, and instead of y'all really like hating on me, y'all really should get to know me. Y'all don't even know me. Y'all know me based off of what y'all see. And in reality, it's crazy because what if y'all were in my position and y'all were getting as much hate as I get? Would y'all be able to handle it? I don't think so. It takes a strong person to handle this. And I'm still here. Carlos, thank you, babes. Y'all are spending more time commenting than to just scroll up. Scroll up. And I'm not negative.
What if her daughters aren't as mentally strong as she is? Not everyone can handle the pressure of being in the public eye, especially teenagers who are still figuring out who they are. If trolls find their social media pages and start harassing them, what then? It's also sad to know that Ashley had a great relationship with her mother, but isn't able to replicate it with her daughters.
Today, like my mom, you know, she doesn't talk to me right now. And I was like, I don't know how to feel. Like my mom was my best friend, you know? Like whenever I was sick, I'd be like, Mom, what do I do, you know? And I can't call her right now. This social media stuff has ruined my relationship with my family. And I'm not even lying. And that's why he was like, what are you doing for Christmas? I said, I'm gonna be alone. Like, my kids are gonna be with my family. I'm gonna be alone. Like, my mom was my best friend. Like, she was in my delivery room for both of my kids. Like, I've never had this much struggle with my mom, like, since social media took over, you know? My mom was my best friend. Like, she was in my delivery room for both of my kids. Like, I've never had this much struggle with my mom, like, since social media took over, you know? And I know, like, what ruined it was whenever I flashed my, you know? And it's like my dad forgave me. My dad's my best friend, but it's like my mom, she's like embarrassed. And so like when people are like, oh, is that your daughter? She's like, no, that's not my daughter. Like it's a different type of abandonment.
Ashley has given up a lot of things for her obsession with social media fame, and there's no limit to what she can do to maintain her status.
But again, when I'm at home drinking by myself, it shouldn't matter what my parenting is because my kids are not there. Or if they are there, they are in their own room, on their phones with their friends, or in the living room watching a movie.
Ashley still doesn't see anything wrong with her behavior, even in front of her kids. It's not about what she does when they're in the same room with her. Even if they're not physically there, her actions are still out in the open for them to see. She's admitted that her kids have their phones, which means they can easily come across videos of their mother drunk, acting a fool online for the world to see. It's one thing for kids to stumble upon random bad influences on the internet, but when the bad influence is their mother, it hits differently. That's the woman they're supposed to look up to, the person shaping their understanding of how adults behave. But she has come online multiple times to defend her parenting style, especially by emphasizing that she's capable of providing anything her daughter wants.
Call me right now, Mom, can you buy me a new so-and-so? I'm gonna buy it, because I'm blessed to be able to do that. So yeah, you're right. My parenting isn't the same as yours. But remember, we all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different ways of life. It's not easy, especially if you're learning how to be a mom all over again on your own.
Why would Ashley say she's learning to be a mother all over again? It's probably because her daughters spend most of their time with her parents instead of her. Ashley drops them off at her parents' place so she can go back to doing what she does best, chasing attention online, drinking, and entertaining drama. Then, whenever her daughters are brought back to her, she suddenly has to assume the role of mom again, as if it's something she can just pause and resume whenever it's convenient. Being a mother isn't seasonal. It's a full-time responsibility. The fact that she even says she's relearning motherhood every time just proves that she's been absent for long stretches, leaving others to pick up the slack. But her focus on being able to provide material things for her kids is the most frustrating aspect of her defense of her parenting style.
So, like, I know a lot of parents look at their kids' phones, like, search their stuff. You know, I don't do none of that.
Yo.
You hear my little one yelling right now? She's arguing with some female. I don't know, she's cussing her out. Yeah, I don't search my kids' stuff, which is probably not good, but I don't get in their business.
Damn, y'all over there having some fun, and it's like 3 in the morning. Everybody sleep where I'm at.
My youngest is awake, wide awake, probably on like a 3-way call with her friends and her sister.
You don't believe in like curfews, bedtimes? No?
They go to sleep when they get sleepy.
Then they're gonna miss out on the whole day. And then
She wakes up early still. Come here.
Bro, what you doing?
Let me see. Come here. I need to ask you something. She said, I don't feel like it.
You let your daughter talk to you like that? It sound like you the daughter and they the mothers. Like they make their own rules and you just go by it.
Who's desperate for love? Because I'm not.
This guy was spot on. The way he stylishly told Ashley that her parenting methods weren't good enough was subtle and direct. While it's fine to let kids have some form of freedom, Ashley needs to understand that there should always be boundaries. Kids shouldn't do whatever they want, especially in their own homes. There have to be basic rules, structure, and discipline, things Ashley seems to be lacking as a parent. It's not about controlling them, it's about guiding them so they don't grow up without direction and discipline. Without rules, kids start believing they don't have to respect authority, they don't have to be responsible, and they don't have to be accountable for their actions. And that's not setting them up for success in the real world. I mean, Ashley is so unreal and irresponsible to the point that she even brought her young daughter on a podcast. Can you imagine?
Well, I don't live with my mom.
But at your mom's house.
No.
When they stay over, this one sometimes sleeps with me or on the couch. That one sleeps on the couch. Or she'll sleep on the mattress.
Just as I said earlier, Ashley isn't even living in a home that truly accommodates her kids. Her daughters mostly stay at their grandparents' house and only come to visit Ashley for short periods. But even then, Ashley hasn't made their comfort a priority. She didn't even bother to get a mattress for them when they stayed over. A mother who claims to buy things for her kids didn't even think to provide them with a proper sleeping arrangement in her own home. You can hear the embarrassment in her daughter's voice when she was asked about bedtime and where she sleeps. This says a lot about the kind of mother Ashley is. She's also had many issues with her first daughter in the past.
She literally has been through, like, the bottom of her life. Like, I'm telling you, whenever we lived with her dad, I used to pull her by the hair because I was so mad at her. Like, I feel like he loved her more than he loved me, and so, like, I took my anger out on her. And she doesn't even, like, hate me for that. Like, she doesn't even remember.
That is honestly one of the most vile things I've ever heard from a mother. How could she do something so cruel to her flesh and blood just because she felt like her daughter was closer to her father? That's not discipline. That's resentment-driven punishment, and it's disgusting. This only proves that during those times, her daughter didn't even do anything truly serious to deserve being treated that way. Ashley wasn't correcting bad behavior. She was simply taking out her bitterness on her child. That's not good parenting. That's emotional abuse. What's worse is that kids rarely forget traumatic experiences like this. Just because her daughter doesn't talk about it all the time doesn't mean she's forgotten the torment her mother put her through. Those wounds stay, and eventually, they either break a child completely or create permanent distance between them and their parent when they're old enough to stand on their own. Why would she even feel comfortable saying something like that online? When many people started pointing out that what she did was both emotional and physical abuse, she later came forward to clarify what she meant.
What I said was, I would get mad at her, yes. And I pulled her hair, yes. But I never abused her. I never hit my kids, you guys. And the only reason I pulled her hair was because she ran from me and I tried to grab her. And instead, I grabbed her hair. That's why they don't listen to me. Because I don't spank my kids. I've never let my parents spank my kids either.
How can Ashley admit to pulling her daughter's hair and then turn around and say it's not abuse? That makes no sense. And it's not just physical. She was also emotionally controlling her daughter, making sure she knew that her mother didn't like the closeness she had with her father. That's manipulation, and it's damaging to a child's emotional well-being. In Ashley's mind, the only thing that counts as abuse is if you physically hit someone and leave a visible mark. But that's completely wrong. Some forms of emotional abuse can be just as bad, if not worse, than physical abuse. Wounds on the body heal, but wounds on the mind and heart can last a lifetime. Her daughter might not have bruises, but she's likely carrying emotional scars from the way Ashley treated her. This type of negligence can be seen in the next video, where Ashley's daughter told her that she had just thrown up. And this was Ashley's reaction to her.
He never smell well. We just threw up. Why? You're lying. It smell like it or what? Bro, I was jamming to
That was it. She went right back to her TikTok live with no emotion, no care, and no affection of any kind to the situation of the kid. She just wanted to continue her video and entertain her audience. Ashley claimed that she was abused by her father growing up, and she vowed not to do the same to her kids. That's commendable, but just because she doesn't physically hit her daughters doesn't mean she isn't harming them in other ways.
That's why they don't listen to me, because I don't spank my kids. I've never let my parents spank my kids either. And when my parents tried to, I would tell them, no, you're not gonna hit my kids. I wouldn't even let their dad hit them. Like, their dad used to try to hit them, and I would tell him, like, you're not gonna hit my kids, like, no. So then he would get mad at me. So again, I did not pull her hair, like, literally, like, intentionally. I literally, and this was, I mean, she was little, so it was a long time ago. I don't care, y'all can sit there and call me or call me what y'all want, but at the end of the day, my kids know I never, they never have bruises on them. Y'all probably are the ones who do that with your kids, to be honest. If anything, I bribe my kids with money, like, behave and I'll give you this. That's how I am as a parent.
Emotional abuse is still abuse. Manipulation, control, and making your children feel unloved or unwanted can be just as damaging as physical harm. And then there's the bribery issue. Ashley admitted that since her kids don't listen to her, she tries to bribe them with money. That is disgusting. Instead of being a parent and teaching them discipline, respect, and responsibility, she's training them to respond only when there's a financial reward. What kind of mindset does that set them up for in the real world? If they grow up thinking that every request, every responsibility, and every favor comes with a price tag, they're going to carry that mentality into adulthood. They'll start believing that nothing is worth doing unless there's money involved. People who are overly attached to money often lack integrity. Apart from bribery, Ashley also didn't oppose her daughters to put themselves out there just like she does.
So how did you guys start? Did you start because your mom went?
No, I had Musical.ly.
Oh, period. Okay.
So then I had it ever since that.
So you started TikTok because of Musical.ly? Yeah. So you do like the little lip sync videos, little dances?
Yeah.
Okay. And you?
I got it after like 2020 or 2021.
And when did you start to notice like a difference in like, okay, I'm doing, like, there's a difference, like, I'm making a couple TikToks for fun and then actually doing social media and things like that? Is it when your mom started going online? Oh, okay. So it's kind of like mom started it, you guys followed.
Mm-hmm. Someone asked me if I was Ashley Reno's daughter, and I said, yeah. And she was like, can I take a picture with you?
Oh,
and
weird.
so I took a picture with the girl. She was like my age, so I took a picture with her. So, yeah.
How does that feel?
It was scary because I was, like, away from my family because I wasn't with my mom. I was with my grandma and grandpa and my sister, and I wasn't with them, so I was by myself shopping.
The problem with allowing kids to be on social media, especially on platforms like TikTok, is that it brings unnecessary attention to them, and not always the good kind. First off, it can attract the wrong type of men, predators who lurk online looking for young, vulnerable kids who don't yet understand the dangers of being in the public eye. The more exposure a child has, the higher the risk of them being targeted by people who have bad intentions. Then there's the issue of fame and mental health. A child gaining even a little bit of social media fame can completely change the way they see the world. Instead of having a normal childhood, they start craving validation from strangers, obsessing over views, likes, and attention, which can be mentally damaging if they don't get it. And what happens when fame limits their freedom? A kid should be able to make mistakes, be silly, and live life without feeling watched. When Ashley was asked about the likelihood of her daughters being in the hands of such predators, she said she wouldn't call the police on the man because she had done something similar when she was a minor.
Like one of my kids, say Haley for instance, she meets a guy, she likes him, she wants to do something. The guy asks her, how old are you? She says, I'm 18 or 17. The guy believes it. And then I find out, I mean, honestly, if I find out my daughter's doing something, I'm not going to sit there and call the cops. I was her age at once. I was doing it. So.
For one, Ashley and her daughter are now public figures, whether they like it or not. A lot of people know who they are. So even if a predator were to claim they don't know Ashley's daughter's name, that would be a lie. The internet makes it too easy to find personal information, and Ashley has already exposed her daughters enough for the wrong people to take notice. Instead of actively protecting her daughter, Ashley's practically permitting predators to manipulate them. By not taking these risks seriously, she's making it easier for them to convince her daughter to lie about her age, because if the mother doesn't take it seriously, why would the child? And what if something like this has happened already? What if her daughters have already been in danger? but Ashley was too caught up in her own drama to notice or do anything about it. What if something like this is about to happen soon, and Ashley isn't serious about getting justice for her daughter?
But I ended up taking the picture. And then that's when my TikTok started blowing up more.
Really?
Because I only had like 50,000 followers. It wasn't that much compared to me now. So, yeah.
Congrats on almost making 1 million.
Thank you.
But when the interview aired, trolls took on their usual cloak and made statements that infuriated Ashley, claiming that she was jealous because her daughter was doing well on TikTok. Because at present, her daughter has over 1 million followers on TikTok. This was Ashley's response to them.
I'm not jealous of my daughter. I told her, get that bag, baby. You are young. Get it right now while you can. And you won't ever have to work. Period. And I want that for her.
I love all my
And
girls.
she's homeschooled, so hey, get it.
I am.
But if y'all are not following my daughter, go ahead and go give her a follow, you guys. I think it's like...
Ashley always tries to make sure her viewers know how much she cares for her kids, how much support they receive from her, and why she believes her parenting method is the best.
You don't know me. I'm not like your baby mama. I'm not like any of these other females who give their kids up and go choose the party life over my kids. My kids are 12, almost 13, and 16. I raised my kids since they were born. My kids are teenagers now. You can't compare my parenting to y'all's parenting. I've been a parent since I was 19 years old. I'm 36.
While Ashley loves to paint herself as the most awesome mother with the best parenting methods, she's also contradicted herself multiple times by openly admitting that she's still learning and struggling with how to be a parent. So, which is it? Is she the perfect all-knowing mother? Or is she struggling to figure things out? Because based on what we've seen, it's clear that her actions don't match her words.
I had always that help, you know, and so I'm learning to be a mom on my own and live on my own with my kids, just me and them. It's not easy. Mm-hmm. So just like a new mom, fresh mom is learning, I'm learning how to grow with my children because I've always had my parents. My mom literally helped me raise my oldest from the day she was born. And that's not no lie. You know, Evie, I was the one with her, but my oldest, that's like my mom's other daughter. And I'm not even lying. Like, I always seen her as a sister growing up. So that's why she kind of doesn't talk to me like I'm her mom because of the fact that I grew up with her like she was my little sister.
You mean to tell me that the same daughter Ashley claimed she pulled her hair, the one she resented for being closer to her father, is now suddenly like a little sister to her? Give me a break, Ashley. But does this lifestyle affect her daughters directly in any way?
How do you handle discussions with friends who are aware of your mother's online persona? Because I know that ain't easy.
Yeah, so when they found out about my mom, some people didn't like it. And a lot of people don't like my mom going live, like getting clipped or anything, because I guess they're embarrassed of it for being our friends and stuff.
This was one of the main reasons why Ashley's eldest daughter stopped going to school and chose to be homeschooled. She lost a lot of friends when her mother started gaining fame on TikTok, because let's be honest, who wouldn't be embarrassed to have a mother who constantly makes a nuisance of herself online? Imagine being a teenager, just trying to live a normal life, but your mom is out there acting wild on the internet for thousands of people to see. Of course other kids would talk. Of course she'd be made fun of. It's almost certain she was bullied or teased because of Ashley. Imagine walking through the halls and having classmates whisper, "Oh, there goes the prison wife's daughter." That'd be hurtful for any kid. Instead of letting her daughter have a normal school experience, Ashley's actions ruined that for her. In response, this is what Ashley had to say.
I would say we lost a bit of friends.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
To be honest, there's nothing I can do about it.
But there is.
I mean, it sucks, yes. But at the end of the day, like, their friends shouldn't be around, because if I'm live, they even know. If I'm live, like, don't come in my room, don't come in, like, unless I'm live with them and I'm like, hey, we're gonna do it live.
So you don't feel like any sort of guilt or sadness that they've lost friends because of it, and they've expressed that?
No, because it's not even for that reason, to be honest. I feel like some of their friends are jealous because of the life that they have.
Such a ridiculous defense from Ashley. Does she believe that people are jealous of her kids? Jealous of what exactly? Having a mother who constantly embarrasses herself online, exposes them to unnecessary drama, and makes their lives harder because of her reckless behavior? Nobody is jealous of Ashley's kids. If anything, people feel sorry for them. The way Ashley's thinking about it, this is just a coping mechanism, a way for her to convince herself that she's not neglecting or embarrassing her daughters. Instead of taking accountability and seeing the damage she's causing, she'd rather lie to herself and pretend that the only reason people criticize her is because they're jealous. That's being delusional. She has to believe this lie because if she doesn't, then she'd have to face the reality. And once you see that truth, how do you keep going? Even Ashley's eldest daughter seems to recognize the dangers of fame, but Ashley either doesn't care or pretends not to. Her body language while her daughter was speaking showed that she wasn't entirely comfortable with how the conversation was going.
I feel like I'd rather go back to my old life. Yeah, we have money, and I mean, I don't like being online publicly. Like,
and yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
Especially you're so young.
Yeah. And growing up, that's why I'm homeschooled too. In the beginning of school, people noticed my mom, and I got like in the cafeteria a lot of stares. And so if I could, I honestly would go back to my old life, to being a nobody to people, because that's when I was more confident, didn't care how I looked. And now since I'm publicly, I've cared more about how I look, how I go out, and stuff.
In the end, concerned viewers started taking steps to contact CPS so that they could report Ashley for her conduct with her kids. This was a big disaster that affected Ashley seriously. We'll talk about more what happened on this in a bit, but first, let's take a look at why I call Ashley the criminal defender.
¿Qué te importa, güey?
I just wanted to know.
He literally unalived his wife.
Okay, well, it's not my fault. Act like it's my fault. Maybe if he was happy, he wouldn't have.
The person they were referring to in this video is Christopher Lee Watts, the man who brutally murdered his pregnant wife Shannon by strangulation and then suffocated their two daughters, Belle and Celeste. And somehow Ashley tried to defend him. I don't know what kind of conversation led to this point, but Ashley seriously said that it wasn't his fault. She claimed that if he was happy, he wouldn't have done it. Excuse me, what? What kind of stupid mentality is that? How do you even begin to justify something so horrific? Instead of holding him accountable for his evil actions, she's blaming his happiness, or lack thereof, as the excuse. That's shifting the blame from the murderer to the victims. Despite the criticism she got for saying this type of terrible thing, she still went on to say similar stuff on her page. This time it's an individual named Francesco Montero, who was involved in something with underage girls. Ashley was on a call with this man and allowed her viewers to listen in on their conversation.
They won't let him out. Just kidding. He's locked up. I am, and they know that you're innocent, babe. I already said it out loud in front of everybody. There's 1.8K watching. Yeah, and you're innocent. He's innocent, you guys. I don't care what y'all say about him. He's innocent.
Babe, you're innocent, right? Until proven guilty. I'm just kidding. You're innocent.
This is seriously disturbing, especially considering that Ashley is a mother of teenage girls herself. For her to go on live with someone who has already been found guilty and then publicly defend him claiming that he's innocent is beyond what any sane person would do. How does she justify this? Does she have any proof? As a mother, her first priority should be protecting her daughters from people like this, not going out of her way to associate with them and defend them.
If you're an adult and you're gonna cry it, and you're gonna come out in the public, let it be the same year that it happened. Okay? Don't wait 11 years later and then say, oh, well, he did this to me. I'm sorry, but half of those females I did not believe.
This is a sensitive topic, and I understand that it can be looked at from different perspectives. But when you listen to what Ashley said and how she said it, it's almost impossible not to criticize her view on the matter. She was talking about women who were SA'd in the past and chose to speak out later in life about what happened to them. And instead of showing understanding or empathy, Ashley said that if they didn't report it immediately, they should just stay quiet and move on. That is an extremely ignorant and harmful mindset. For one, when something like that happens, especially to a young girl, fear, shame, and trauma often prevent them from speaking up right away. It can take years before someone feels strong enough to tell their story. That doesn't mean they're lying. It just means they needed time to process what happened to them. And Ashley's stance is exactly why so many people are afraid to come forward in the first place. Yes, there have been a few cases where false accusations have happened, and those should be taken seriously. But that does not and should not diminish the reality of actual survivors who are telling the truth.
Hey, can I ask you a question? Can I take it to my crib?
Sure, go ahead. Just don't take advantage of my...
Wait, what you said?
Just don't make me a grandma and take...
I honestly wonder how the father of these kids feels about what Ashley is doing with his children online. Does he even know the extent of it? And if he does, how does he not step in? At this point, Ashley is embarrassing herself and publicly dragging her kids into it. But recently, her ex-husband and the father of her 2 daughters passed away, and she lamented online about not being invited to attend the burial.
They'll be there with his family. My family's going. My sister, my brother, my parents, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins. They're all gonna be there. That's not right, Ash. I can tell. I am hurt. I'm hurt.
Haley, stop.
Now let's go back to the previous video. Ashley went on to say, "You shouldn't make me a grandma by taking advantage of my daughter." What kind of mother even says something like that? That's not a joke. That's not a funny comment to throw out there on a live stream or anywhere for that matter. This is exactly why I think sometimes Ashley might be sick in the head, because who in their right mind talks about their child like that? As the criminal defender that she is, Ashley went on another live stream to explain why she believes victims are at fault for the crimes of criminals.
Yeah, y'all know that the 13-year-old that happened to, she was a gang member? Did y'all know that she was already on trial for another? Did y'all know?
Ashley's main argument here was that since the young girl was already involved in crime at that age, she deserved to be attacked by the man who preyed on her. How normal does that sound to you? It's just sad. And funnily enough, despite all the crazy things she has done online, her TikTok page is still active and hasn't been suspended or blocked. Now, with these disturbing conducts online, Ashley started having issues with this.
Y'all are really trying to get my kids taken from me, and it's not gonna happen. Do you know how many CPS cases I've had on me in the last 4 months, and I still have custody of my kids? Like, you do understand when you call CPS, you have to have actual proof that they're in an unfit condition, right? Like, you really have to have proof that my kids are really being not taken care of. You do understand that, right? For those of y'all that love to call CPS on me, y'all do understand. You have to have proof that my kids are in harm's way, my kids are this, my kids are that, y'all really have to have proof.
She might think there's no proof of her misconduct with her kids, both online and offline, but let's be honest. From everything we've seen and heard, Ashley has given more than enough reasons for people to question whether her children are safe around her. At this point, Ashley has created an environment that is unstable and completely inappropriate for children. And the worst part is that the damage might already be done. By now, those kids have seen and experienced things no child should ever have to go through. They've been exposed to their mother's reckless lifestyle, her dangerous choices, and the lack of boundaries she has when it comes to their privacy and well-being. And that's the real tragedy, because once a child has been mentally and emotionally affected by a parent, it's hard to undo that damage.
My kids have never been taken away from me. My kids have always been with me, and a lot of y'all spread rumors and say that CPS took my kids from me. Baby, CPS has never taken my kids. Yes, I've had like 20 CPS cases. They dismissed them all. Because you know why? My kids are in good hands. My kids are taken care of. My kids do not need, they don't want for nothing.
20 CPS cases is a huge number. That means there have been numerous complaints about Ashley's parenting, yet somehow she still has custody of her kids. The fact that all these reports are coming from concerned viewers watching her online says a lot. These are people who don't know her personally, yet they've seen enough disturbing behavior to believe that her children might be in danger. But CPS cases are hard to prove when the complaints come from people watching from a distance. Without direct evidence, it's difficult for authorities to build a solid case against her. Now, if the complaints were coming from someone close to Ashley, like a family member, neighbor, or someone who regularly sees what happens in her home, then the situation would be completely different.
My kids, I came home today with 3 gifts for my kids, and I gave it to them already. And it was all Hello Kitty stuff. My kids get stuff every day. Y'all want to talk about my kids not having a bed. Y'all want to talk about my kids not having this. You know what? At the end of the day, my kids are fixing up their room right now. Because remember, I told y'all, it was a junk room because they moved out. My kids are back home for good, you guys. And y'all can't take that from me.
The reports and criticism from people didn't stop as they continued witnessing Ashley doing unreasonable things with or in front of her kids. This eventually led her to send her children to her mother's place for the time being.
Literally, CPS just got involved back in, I want to say, September. Mm-hmm. And they were getting so many calls that...
Because of TikTok Live, you would say?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was tired of it. So I told my mom, you know what, keep them until this goes away.
No, she's seen that video that guy posted saying that he has a successful open case on me. She's like, Mom, they opened another case? I said, don't worry about it, bro. Like, they're going to continue to keep opening cases and opening cases and opening cases. And you know what? God continues to close the cases. He continues to close the cases. I don't fear no man, nobody but God. He's the only person I fear. So you want to try and do what you're going to do? Go for it, baby boy. Well, not baby boy. You're an old man. Go for it, old man.
If Ashley truly had the fear of God in her, she would realize that the best thing for her kids would be to stay at her parents' place permanently, at least until she gets her life together. Sure, she could still visit them, spend time with them, and be involved in their lives, but they shouldn't be living under her roof for long periods, given how unstable and reckless her behavior has been. The truth is, people wouldn't be reporting her to CPS if they didn't see a reason to. If Ashley made the mature decision to leave her kids in a safer, more stable environment and changed her conduct online, the constant complaints would eventually stop. Ashley seems too focused on defending herself and acting like she's being unfairly targeted. But she's not doing this. She's doing the opposite.
The little one actually is mine 100%. I raised her since she was born. She's just a mama's girl. The little one is a mama's girl, but the oldest one is a grandma and grandpa's girl. So my oldest one currently stays with my parents, yes. My little one stays with me, 100%. They still see each other. They talk to each other every day. I still go to my mom's. My oldest one comes here, steals my food, and she'll take it to my mom's, and I'm like, I just bought groceries, bro.
We've always known that the relationship between Ashley and her oldest daughter hasn't been completely smooth over the years. The fact that her eldest daughter spends more time with her grandparents probably plays a huge role in why she isn't fully in alignment with her mother. Being around more stable parental figures has likely given her a different perspective, one that doesn't match Ashley's lifestyle. Meanwhile, the younger daughter doesn't seem to push back against Ashley as much. She isn't as rebellious or outspoken, which makes it seem like she's being more influenced by Ashley than her older sister. That's what makes things concerning, because if the oldest daughter is resisting, but the younger one is going along with Ashley's behavior, that could mean she's being molded into her mother's ways.
My oldest one is more like my sister than my daughter, and the little one stayed with us. Like, the little one's always been ours, but the oldest one has always been my parent.
But in a more recent event, the interview Ashley did has caused another controversy on its own. One thing to note is that this was the podcast that Ashley and her daughters were invited to a few months ago, hosted by Camilla. After the episode aired, Ashley faced a ton of backlash for the things that were said on air, especially the moments where it became obvious that her daughters weren't always comfortable around her. People called her out for both her words and how her daughter's body language and reactions spoke volumes. Instead of owning up to it, Ashley went on to trash the podcast afterward. She claimed her experience on Camilla's show was terrible, that she wasn't paid to be there, and that she felt it was all a setup to make her look bad, as if the real issue wasn't her own words and actions.
Do I think she was fair to me? In reality, no, but like I said, it is what it is, you know? Camilla is a young girl too. She's literally younger than Max, I believe. So I think she's like 22. So again, it wasn't somebody older that was doing the interview. So she is younger and she doesn't have kids, so she doesn't know how it is. She even said in the podcast she don't remember what it is to be 16. But again, they do stuff for the views. You gotta remember that. She's an influencer. She does stuff for the views because she gets paid off of the views, so.
Camilla didn't take these allegations lightly, so she made a video responding to what Ashley had said about her.
She said that she regrets doing it. What did you think I was gonna ask you about? You think I'm gonna sit there and be like, let's just be besties? Like no, girl. Like, she said, she was like, oh, like, if I knew the podcast was gonna be yada yada yada, I would have asked her for payment. I paid for first class tickets. I paid for her to stay at the Ritz-Carlton, and not to mention, she messaged me and was like, hey, do you mind if I extend my flight to stay longer? No, I don't mind, because I could extend the flight for free.
Just because Ashley didn't receive a direct payment for her appearance on Camilla's podcast doesn't mean the whole thing wasn't transactional in its own way. For one, Camilla provided everything Ashley needed while she was there, whether it was hospitality, exposure, or a platform to speak on. It wasn't like Ashley was just dragged into the interview with nothing in return. Plus, let's not forget the massive PR boost Ashley got from this. The video featuring Ashley pulled in millions of views, meaning she got more exposure, more engagement, and probably even new people discovering her for the first time. Whether it was positive or negative attention, it still kept her name trending. So Ashley wasn't doing Camilla any favors by being on the podcast. If anything, Ashley benefited from it just as much, if not more.
She extended the flight to wherever, I don't know when the hell she stayed till, and then automatically calls the front desk to the Ritz-Carlton and just books an extra night, books an extra 2 nights. I don't even know how many nights she stayed, and then texts me to pay for it. Babe, you literally sat on my podcast talking about you have some budget. Your kids don't have beds, and you were asking me to pay for an extra night. What happened to budget? What happened to you having security? What happened to all that? Babe, you want to flex your rich, pay for your night at the Ritz-Carlton. I thought I was in my opinion, I thought I was very respectful.
This video by Camilla was supposed to put an end to the whole situation. It laid everything out clearly, showing how Ashley had tried to twist the narrative and paint Camilla as the villain in all of this. For most people, that would have been the final word. Case closed, move on. But of course, Ashley couldn't let it go. To everyone's surprise, but not really, Ashley made another response video, reacting to what Camilla accused her of. I don't know what she expected this revelation to prove in the current situation. Just because she initially covered the cost of the hotel and other expenses doesn't mean anything, since Camilla eventually reimbursed her for the total amount. So in the end, it wasn't Ashley who paid for the hospitality side of things. Ashley is one hell of a character, and if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that there's always more to come. She's constantly feeding the internet with new controversies, new drama, and new ridiculous moments. And you can bet that in the next couple of months, she'll give us even more to talk about. And of course, we'll be here, ready to react, analyze, and break down every chaotic decision she makes. But honestly, at this point, the biggest concern isn't Ashley, it's her kids. Whatever mess Ashley chooses to bring into her own life, that's on her. But let's just hope and pray that her kids can escape the cycle, find stability, and create a better life for themselves.